Hey Dynamo Nation, what's going on? My name is James. Thank you for being with me on this episode today. If you're new to the channel, new to Dynamo Nation, welcome. I appreciate you being here. If you're not subscribed, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Definitely helps out the channel, helps me to pump out more Dynasty content like this to you. Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a huge shout out to Dynamo Nation. Today makes 2 months since we started this channel. We are right under 300 subscribers. I really do appreciate all the love and support I've gotten from all of you. I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of you down in the comment section, in the emails. I think I've replied to every single comment down below, whether it's been good, bad, or indifferent. Please keep it coming. Let's keep that dialogue going. And it's that love and support from all of you that inspired today's video. And that is Dynasty strategy in a rebuild. As I've gotten to know a lot of you, it's obvious to me I have a lot of subs, a lot of viewers who are in rebuilds or stuck in rebuilds. And yeah, I figured let me put my thought to video and kind of give you guys what my process is, what I do if I'm in that situation. And it's going to be a simple video today. No graphs, no charts, no tables, just a conversation friend to friend. So I hope you guys get some value out of this. And when I look at myself, when I'm in a rebuild, what do I do right out the gate? I look at my team. I have an honest talk to myself, self-assessment of that team. How healthy is my draft situation? That's the first thing I'm doing. How many picks do I have? Do I have picks for the next 2-3 seasons? If you've been following me, you know that I preach trading for draft picks down the line while they have deflated value. So what's my draft pick situation like? That's one. Then I look at my young players on my roster, specifically young players who have real draft capital invested in them, whether that's in a rookie draft for us or in the NFL, and have they popped? If the answer is they have not popped, but they have real value committed to them, wrap them in bubble wrap, duck them to the side. Those players don't exist. And I say that because they have minimal value in a trade right now. What we're not going to do, we're not going to add those players as a sweetener to top off a deal and watch them blow up on someone else's team. We will not allow that to happen. You cannot do that. We need every one of those lottery tickets that we can possibly have right now. We're looking to acquire those players, not trade them away. So that's the first two things we're going to do as part of our plan. Draft pick situation, young players. We're going to assess that whole thing right out the gate. And then we're going to look at our vets, our older players. And I don't care what position it is. Quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end. 26 and older, they are gone. We are not married to any of these players. You have to be committed to that. These guys cannot be nailed down to your roster. If they're nailed down, you need to go get a damn crowbar and pry them up. They can't be nailed down. 26 and above in a rebuild, they're gone. And if you're on IDP, if you play IDP, everyone's available. I don't care what their age is, how great they are. Every single one of those players is available in trades, period. Okay, so that's going to be the first part of this. That's our plan. Trading away every single person on that team, 26 and older, protecting our young players, assessing our draft picks. And speaking of picks, we are looking to acquire as many draft picks as possible. We want every pick we can possibly get. And it sucks. I understand that very first year of a rebuild, you are going to have to tear it down to the studs. You're going to keep a couple of building blocks. Everybody else is going to be gone, but you're going to have a plethora of picks. That first draft, when you're going into a dynasty rebuild, if you have a 5-round draft, that first draft, if you don't have 20 draft picks, you did it wrong. Legitimately, you need to have 20 draft picks spread out between rounds 1 through 5. We want as many picks as possible. And you have to, like I said, you have to tear this down to the studs. You cannot half-ass a rebuild. I've seen it far too often. Someone tries to go into a rebuild, they get halfway through it, then they get real greedy. You know, they're starting to build a nice young core. They have all these draft picks, and they want to speed the process up. You cannot do that. If you half-ass a rebuild, you might have a competitive team for a season or two, but then you're going to find yourself right back in that situation. You're going to have no picks. Tear it down to the studs. We are looking to build dynasties. That's the goal of this. 6, 7, 8 seasons of just nonstop throttling people. That's what I want to do. I'm sure that's what you want to do. We want to mollywop our leagues for a decade. Don't half-ass it. So grab as many draft picks as possible. Every single player needs to be available that we've already identified. The other way to get picks, activity on your waiver wire in season is a must. You have to be active. Put those claims in. Grab those players. If they have a pop week, trade those players. Think ahead of the game. If you're in a super flex, load up on quarterbacks in the offseason, the backups, because injuries happen every single year. And what do we know about super flex? Quarterback is supreme. If you can grab those quarterbacks while you can, and when it comes time for them to start a game, and another team needs a win, and they need that quarterback, you're going to be able to cash in for a 1-week rental for someone. Take advantage of those situations. So, first part, obviously the plan. Second part is the picks. Third part is our players. And we talk about our players. This is just for me. It's not going to fit everyone. Not everyone's going to be comfortable with this, but this has worked for me. We are building around wide receivers and a tight end. And it cannot be just any tight end. This needs to be an elite tight end. For me, my Dynasty tight end one is Kyle Pitts. He's closing in on 1,000 yards this season. Back half of the year, he has struggled, but defenses are bracketing coverage towards him so much due to Ridley being out. The talent is there. It's undeniable. He is going to be a fantasy stud. So tight end and receivers. And for me, my top 5 receivers in Dynasty right now are Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and this is in no particular order, so don't get that confused. Chase, Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. They're all very young. They're all extremely talented. If you can get one of those guys to build around your receiver room, you're in a great spot. Okay? We want to focus on receivers. We want to focus on tight end. And there's a reason for this. Our running back is the last position to address. Do not focus on running back at the beginning of a rebuild. That's the worst mistake that you can make. Running backs, their shelf life is shorter. They age and burn out quicker. That's the last thing that we want to do. We want to get our receivers, tight end, quarterback room, and then running back addressed. With the goal of this being, if we can get our receivers and our tight end and our quarterbacks together, let them season for a season or 2, maybe 3, right? Let them develop. Let them come into their own. And by the time they're in year 3 or 4, then we attack that running back room. And we attack that running back room by loading up on draft picks 3-4 seasons down the line. That's the purpose of doing that. That way, once we get to that point, when our receivers and our tight end and our quarterbacks are ready to roll, and they've had that time to develop and their growing pains are out of the way, we can draft our running backs. And when we draft those running backs, especially if you get into a draft where you have 5, 6, 7 first-round picks in the future, but you've already got your receivers and your tight end and your quarterback squared away, and then you can attack that one draft, that's when you know you're doing it right. Because if you're doing your rebuild right, your running backs, again, should be the very last thing you build. But your receivers, your tight end, and your quarterback should carry you for those first few seasons. And you might go from 1 or 2 wins that first year to 4 or 5 the second year to 7 or 8 that third year. And if you're on that trajectory, you know you're doing it right. And once you hit that 7 or 8 win mark, and then that next draft is when you address all that running back, you are going to dominate. You're going to have a 5 or 6 year window where you are just rolling over people. And that's what we want to see happen. And you know you're doing it right. Like, you know you're doing it right when the teams around you are getting worried. Like, if you go in here and you put this strategy and employ this, it's gonna be a power move. You're gonna see owners in your leagues like, damn, that person knows what they're doing. He or she is gonna be a problem very soon. And when you have that, and when you get into their mind, like, it's probably the most satisfying thing in Dynasty to me is when I see other managers in my league start to panic. And when you see that happen, you know you got them. Like, I'll give you an example. If you've been following the expansion team that I took over, I didn't take it over, I was a part of. I took over an expansion team. And the guy in my division, he won the championship my first year in that league. You fast forward 2 seasons. I just finished 9-5 in that league. He missed the playoffs, right? Because he got greedy. He rested on his team being good. He thought it was always going to be good. And unfortunately for him, I was in his division, and I have just been plugging away at this team for 2 seasons. Just plugging away, making moves. And I caught him this season, took his spot. He's out of the playoffs. I'm still alive. It's looking like, based on Thursday and Saturday night, I have a great chance of winning this week and going to the championship game. And it's just so funny watching these teams around me that were very good, who got cocky with it and thought that this is an expansion team. This team is going to suck forever. And watch them blow up their roster, because at the end of the season, he blew up that roster. He traded everybody. And it was the most saddest. I was just sitting back watching these trades and smiling. And when you get to that point, it's going to be so satisfying, I promise you. So that's kind of my process when I get into these rebuilds. I look at what I've got, protect my young players, accumulate as many draft picks as possible. You're going to have to blow it up to these studs. Don't half-ass it like I've said. Be okay with losing. That first year of a rebuild is going to be tough. 1 win, maybe 2. You might win none. But you have to remember it's part of this process, part of this plan, and it's going to work. You have to believe it. And when you get to where I'm at in your rebuild, again, I went from 1 win to 6 wins to 9 wins. That was the trajectory for that team. 1 to 6 to 9. And now I'm sitting at 9 wins. And my roster right now, this is only a 1 QB league, but this is a 12-team league, 40-man rosters, 5-man taxi. So it's a pretty deep league. It's a full IDP. But that league now, my team right now in that league, quarterback situation is Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson. For 1 QB league, that's amazing. Running backs, I do have Gibson and Swift and Chase Edmonds and a bunch of other handcuffs in that league that I like. Receivers, though, you're talking about Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman, Devontae Smith, Rashad Bateman. Tight end is Kyle Pitts, Mike Gesicki. So you see what I did there. My tight ends, my receivers, my quarterback is squared away. And even running back, I'm looking pretty right now. I haven't really invested or spent a lot of time grabbing those players. Right? I got them before they blew up in terms of Gibson and Swift and Edmonds. And I like Edmonds a lot. Then on the IDP side of things, my starters, so I can start 3 defensive linemen, are Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter, and who did I just pick up? Oh, Hassan Reddick. I picked him up as a free agent in 2020. Those are my 3 stars on defensive line. And then linebacker. There's Roquan Smith, Darius Leonard, Devin White, Patrick Queen. I picked up Christian Kirksey, Jayon Brown. Like, it's just a deep linebacker room. DB, I don't care about it at all. I'll be the first to tell you, you can stream DBs every single week. Don't invest or waste resources if you play IDP on your DBs. But I'm saying this to tell you guys, I still have a boatload of draft picks in these next few drafts coming up. That's how I've structured this team. I have a ton of draft picks coming up. And I think about the team I just told you on paper. Think about those receivers. The Chases, the Pittmans, the Lambs, DJ Moore, Devontae Smith, Rashad Bateman. Think about tight end, Kyle Pitts. You know I've got Pat Mahomes. I'm set there for 10 years with Fields and Russell Wilson behind him. And I still have 2 great running backs, young running backs. But I have a plethora of draft picks. And if you don't play IDP, you have to take my word for this. The IDP I just laid out for you, I'm going to challenge you to find a better IDP. A full starting IDP. I'm going to challenge you to go out and find someone who has got a better starting 7 between the defensive line and linebackers. You're not going to be able to. Those are all studs across the board. And I still have all these picks. And that's what you can do if you follow this process and follow this plan. Keep your young players, load up on draft picks, have that build-up year. Don't call it a tanking season. That's your build-up season. Have your build-up year and get the ball rolling. And when I have all these picks coming up, what's going to happen when I start really addressing that running back room and start building depth there? Because I have 6 receivers that I really like. I've got my stud tight end and a nice young backup. My quarterback is set. IDP is set. I have all these picks. What's going to happen? I'm going to own that league. And they know it. I know it. The dude who just won it 2 years ago knows it. What did he do? He blew it up. He knows what's going to happen. That could be you. You have to follow this process. So that's the video today. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of it. Keep the comments coming down below. Definitely going to get back to you. If you're still in the playoffs, good luck. Let's knock these out. I should be in the championship game in both my leagues. I'm really excited after last night's games or yesterday's games. I'm looking good. So I'll keep you guys updated. And I'm going against a couple of juggernauts. So if I can win, get to the championship game, I will be ecstatic, especially in that expansion league. That would be huge for me to get the title game and possibly win it in like the second full season of that rebuild. I'll be very, very excited. So stick with the Dynamo Nation. Again, thank you for all the love and support. If you enjoyed this video, enjoy this content, remember to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.